I guess the best way to start this off is by admitting that I did have a groupie moment. I am a huge fan of Anton Daniels, right? And I was watching when he confronted some protesters. And there was this one clip. Okay, I clipped up the one where this one black dude was all, attacking him or telling him, oh, you can't record here, whatever. But the clip, my favorite clip, I didn't want to clip up the whole thing because I'm already biting off of everybody, trying to make a name for myself or whatnot, still figuring out this YouTube thing. But anyway, there's this part where Anton is talking to this lady and being like, hey, you're one of the most privileged people, here, white lady, what are you doing out here? Now, one thing that I like is when the lady got confrontational, he was like, you need to be at home anyway. You ain't married, you ain't got no kids. Now, I'm gonna say this. I guess I'm gonna preface this by saying something. This is kind of my philosophy, right? I don't believe in old days. I believe in new days. This is what I mean. When people say the good old days or the way things used to be, to me, it implies that there's a new way or there's a more up-to-date way of doing things, right? Which is to imply that the old way is outdated. And this is why I don't really, I guess ascribe is the word, to this idea of the old days, right? Because I believe that the old way still works. The so-called new way ain't working. Period. It doesn't work. That being said, I believe in a new day, right? There might be new ideas, new ways of seeing things. That's all well and good. But the reality is there's a proper way to do things. And just because the old way has been updated or maybe we've had extensions or improvements with like technology or what have you, doesn't mean to throw out the original way of doing things, right? And I mean, we can go forever with it. My point is this. There was this so-called old-fashioned order of God, man, woman, child, right? Today, we have, if I were to say it, now it's woman, child, man, God. That's the new order. This also reminds me of when I've seen some clips where women are like, you don't need no man, or, you're being a pick me if or why should women think about what men think? Because that's the order. And if you have a problem with order, that's just a problem that you have. And that's okay. But what's not okay is to sit here and act like you've got some kind of wisdom that you don't have. At any rate, because now this is why I'm demonstrating. This new order of woman first, happy wife, happy life, strong, independent, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on, right? Don't have to be no pick-me shit. Ain't out here trying to get toes. The same people that sit here and put women on a pedestal are the same people that are always talking in reference to how their life is so hard because of what a man didn't do for them, right? So they're basically, in a roundabout way, saying what I'm saying. The problem is they're trying to reinvent the wheel. That being said, I am going to go into this marriage conversation. I'm real big on marriage. That is like my number one thing. I remember being a little kid. I had a bunch of cousins and siblings and stuff. We were out playing. And one day, like how most families do, they call all the kids in and line us up. Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Somebody said an astronaut, other kids say a dinosaur, whatever. But for me, I said I wanted to be a wife. I've always wanted to be a wife. And from that day that I made that proclamation, this whole pick me energy has always came at me, right? And I used to think when I was younger, since I was so smart and I was so gifted, because these were the reasons why people used to tell me, oh no, you shouldn't want to grow up and be somebody's wife. You can do a whole lot more than that. And for me, I thought that was crazy because I was like, listen, at the end of the day, you have your humanity. Okay, college is not going to give you your humanity. Having a career is not going to give you your humanity. These things are all well and good, but at the end of the day, you still are a person and you still have personal needs. And then when you have children, they have needs and they have two parents and they need their two parents. And I'm thinking like, duh. Like for me, it was like a duh moment, I didn't want to be one of those people. Like, I guess I was surrounded by people who were like, they're so smart, they stupid, and I'm not trying to throw shade, but it's like, what are we really talking about here? Yes, I have the potential to do a lot of things, and I have done a lot of spectacular things. But, for example, when I was in the Air Force, they put me in a flight program. I was flying planes. Very nice experience. But I noticed that as I continued in this flight program, this isn't going to benefit my family life in the long run, right? And I made the judgment call that I did not want to pursue, being a pilot. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a pilot. I know a handful of female pilots who, were married and they had children and things like that. And that's fine for them. As for me, going back to when Anton was telling this lady, you should be at home. I believe in that, right? Like, I have flown with some pilots who are women, very rare. I'm the only black female pilot I've ever seen. Actually, I'm one of two. I actually worked with another black female pilot who actually made Air Force history. That's a whole nother conversation. But when I was in the Air Force, and then I got out and then I started doing civilian flight school, I noticed that the woman that I was flying with at the time was always concerned about her daughter. And we would be in the cockpit and she would be talking about her daughter. When we're not doing flight operations stuff and we were just up there, straight and level flight, just coasting. Her whole concern from the time that we were taking off from the runway to the time that we touched down to our next runway location was, I wonder what my daughter is doing. And sitting next to her, it gave me anxiety because I was like, man, I could not imagine being at like 5,000 feet in the air, 8,000 feet in the air, still climbing altitude. And the whole time, the thing that's on my mind is, what is my baby doing? My husband, does he know that we had to switch formulas for her because she can't eat the formula she used to eat? Or does he know that, I told him he needed to, get some more clothes for her? Does he know what size? Does he know what material to put on her because she has reactions to certain material? All of that anxiety, it just gave me like this foreshadowing of where I was going to end up and for what? To be able to say, I'm the first black female to... Like, who does that benefit? I remember people were telling me, oh, you gotta do this for other black girls who come after you. They not my kids. And I'm gonna say specifically to the black community, trying to supplement a husband, trying to put other stuff in place of a functional husband is so unhealthy. You gotta do it for the black community. No, don't tell me to do anything you wouldn't get your baby daddy or your boyfriend or your sneaky link to do. No. Like, I'm so tired of that with the black community. Like, we do things out of order. It takes a village. No, it takes functional people, functional men to be heads of household, not just claim to be one because you have a phallus. Functional women who hold themselves to a standard and can be honest about what they're dealing with instead of being delusional to maintain comfort in a dysfunctional relationship. Functional children who know they can go to their parents instead of trying to grow up fast and claim that they're more mature than what they actually are when they're really just being exposed to a bunch of ratchet stuff. Anyway, didn't want to go on that rant. Trying to stay back on subject with Anton Daniels, right? And the lady. Okay. This country has become a nation of weak, begging, feminine men. And in turn, the women have become confused, loud, belligerent little dudes. And now we have kids who are just sex crazed. Now, that's a little bleak, right? But that's my perception. That's what I am seeing, right? This structure of woman, child, man, God, it ain't working. It's not working. It's a new day, and the old way is the only way that works. Yeah, nobody's putting God first. Nobody. Everybody's put, oh, I want to make my wife happy. If you out of order, what is the marriage about? Doesn't make any sense. Oh, I'm never put him before my kids. He gave you the kids. I don't understand how that's a difficult concept. Adam didn't have, okay, I know people, I don't even care. Adam didn't have Cain and Abel and Seth and went like, I don't really need Eve like that. That's my blood right here. That's just raunchy. It's out of order. And now people get mad at stuff. I'm sorry, I just got in my feelings. I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't trying to, again, like I shouldn't even be doing all this. All I'm saying is, there needs to be the old day in a new way. That's all I'm saying. When Anton was like, you need to be home with your kids, that's why we got all these grown people and they out of order. They out of order. And I understand. These men who are starting these families, they are out of order. But at the same time, these women who go, oh, I could take care, I could do it by myself. No, you can't. Stop it. You can't. You're not a man. It's okay. And I'm not even talking to the LGBTQ and the rest of them. I'm talking about everybody who's sitting at the table who knows something is wrong. And I know sometimes I can be a little heavy-handed when I'm talking about these non-traditional families. But even if you did like have a child out of wedlock or whatever, you know right from wrong. Fix it. Do right. Grow up. Understand where you need to be in life and get there. And if you're blessed enough to have a spouse that's gonna walk through life with you, make it work. Because that's what a community is. Husband, wife, children, all of them under God. For me, of course, I worship Yahweh. Some people call him Yahweh, whatever. But there's a higher power above all of us. Me and my husband, we lose our way. We have issues just like boyfriends, girlfriends, baby mama, baby daddy. We have issues too. You know what we do? We pray, we fast, we study, we read, we fellowship. Because it's not, the love, icing on the cake. But at the end of the day, there's order and structure. Our kids ain't running around like, I don't go to my daddy, I don't go to my mom. No, it's out of order. We don't, I don't know, like people get so mad. Everybody, the government ain't your daddy. That's a whole nother video. I'm just saying, call to order. Ain't no old way, it's just a new day. It's just as true as it was since day one.